Okay, so in the interest of time, if we can reconvene, and Dr. LeBlanc will talk to you about the pilot program and some new aspects of it.
Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for attending today in person and online. So just going to go through just a little bit of the overview of the pilot project program because we've got the new RFAs will be released soon. So if anyone has not met me yet, I will start with probably one of my favorite TV shows. Howdy, y'all. I would like to be the Theodora Lasso of the pilot project program. So I like to, this show has been great. If you guys haven't watched it, it's a really good, heartwarming, really good for today's society. And then I also got introduced to including GIFs, or some people pronounce it GIFs, into this presentation. So this is also new for me. So hopefully all of these work. Okay, so let me just go through a brief overview of our CIEHS goals and specifically how the pilot project program works into those. So in terms of the center, the research seeks to understand how, of course, lifestyle factors interact with the exposure to environmental toxicants and human health and disease, and then how life stage genetics and also sex and gender influence these interactions. So the major goal of the PPP is to enhance the capacity for environmental health research at U of L. And so the pilot project program really wants to foster novel research that can really form the basis for new extramural grant applications. So really trying to find the science that's going to have a good return on investment, making the center the most productive as it possibly can be. So we'll go through a little overview of the aims. So the pilot project program aims, the overall goal is to increase environmental health research at U of L. And we want to do that in one of three ways. The first aim is to foster new research projects related to environmental exposures and lifestyle factors through the provision of these pilot project funds. Aim two, we actually just were able to complete this one for the year one projects, and that is disseminating the research findings from the funded pilot projects through the annual Research Louisville event. Personally, I can say that I thought that symposium went great. It was wonderful to get to see all the investigators in person and to see such great science that's been collected from the year one projects. And then the third aim is to promote and facilitate submission of the new grant applications based on the research that they have that's originated from these funded pilot projects. Okay, so in terms of who is the PPP for? It's for many different types of people. First of which would be new investigators that's in the early stages of their careers. These would be investigators that would coordinate with the Career Development Corps to provide research support for promising new investigators receiving mentoring through that center. Another people that this is for is the community partners, and that's using the community-led science, citizen science approach. Individuals from the community are eligible to submit these pilot project applications, focusing on environmental health problems of their local or regional significance. And that's done in coordination with the mentoring from the Community Engagement Corps. Of course, established investigators from other fields can bring in some new technique, novel expertise to help collaborate with existing members of the CIEHS to perform environmental health research. So that's collaborating with an existing member or associate member of the center in order to do this. And then of course, the established CIEHS investigators. We want to develop novel research directions that have a high potential for funding by the NIEHS. Okay, so the types of awards that the pilot project program gives out. So there's 4 different types right now. The first of which is the interdisciplinary award. So this one is one that goes up to about $50,000 in direct cost. And what we want to do with this one is we want to see applications that are bringing investigators from other fields into the environmental health and also has the potential to produce synergistic effects on research productivity, because you're bringing together really a combo of new investigators. The New Direction Award means exactly what it says. This project has to be highly innovative and distinct from the applicant's currently funded research. The Community Engaged Awards. This has to involve interaction with community members within the geographic focus area, what we call like the Louisville regional community, encompassing Kentuckiana and also Western Kentucky. It must impact an environmental problem of local or regional significance. And I think Dr. States has been sending out a couple emails recently about some of the environmental health concerns that's been in the news recently. So that's what we're talking about here, is like really kind of leveraging these things that are going on in our community, finding partners in that community to apply for some of these awards. And then lastly, the Career Development Award. This is an individual that would receive this kind of award is identified by the executive committee, and then they're supported and mentored concurrently through the career development component of the admin core. Okay, so our awardees from the first 2 years, I'll go through just briefly some of these. So from the year one awards that were presented at Research Louisville, we had a representative from each of those 4 different awards. So we had the New Direction Pilot Project Award by Dr. Zhang, and we had 2 Interdisciplinary Pilot Projects Awards, one from Drs. Ellis and Dupree, and then the other one was from Dr. Jala. And so this is the one that's linked on the CIEHS website for Dr. Jala. He had a spotlight video on there, which was, really nicely done. And that's talking about his project with microbial metabolites protecting against arsenic-induced gut barrier dysfunction. And then our Career Development Pilot Project Award also had a spotlight video with Dr. Banerjee. And so that's also excellently done presentation that's on the website, and that's looking at the APC11 being a novel target for arsenic-mediated zinc displacement, leading to cell cycle disruption. And then lastly, we were really excited to hear from Dr. Sanyang that came in from Western Kentucky at Research Louisville. And him and his colleagues presented the firefighter practices and exposure in response to COVID-19 in Northwestern Kentucky. So then our year 2 awards, these are the ones that we're going to hear from next fall at Research Louisville. We had 2 New Direction Pilot Project Awards, one going to Dr. Hine, and then the other one going to Drs. Neal and Corbett. And then we have 2 Interdisciplinary Pilot Project Awards, one going to Dr. Kai, and then another one going to Dr. Fu. And then we have a Community Engaged Pilot Project Award for year 2 as well, and that's looking at the citizen science approach to studying the community impact of hemp processing facilities in Cadiz, Kentucky. Okay, so just a couple new things that is going to be taking place in the pilot project program for year 3. We now have it to where if you've already received a pilot project program award, and you need to request a no-cost extension. These are now available online through the website. It's easy to fill out, and so it's way more automated. Thanks to Colleen and Sarah for that. Okay, the RFAs for 2022 awards will be anticipated to be released next week. The letter of intent due date for those should be that Friday right before the university takes the 2-week break. And then the full proposals, if you're asked to submit a full proposal, those due dates will be on February 4th. So new for 2022, well, let me first start by saying it'll still be the same types of awards in terms of the interdisciplinary, the New Direction, and also the Community Engaged Awards. So same format or same type of awards. However, what we're going to add in for this next year is we really want to get a little bit more of the community input. And so what we're going to do is we're going to include or ask that the investigators include a lay summary in their letter of intent that will be ranked by our community engagement core, specifically members of the stakeholder and advisory board. So really trying to get their input into how they feel that this project would impact them and their community, and then we can use that to base it off of, which projects that we eventually select to be, that we want to see a full proposal from. Okay, and then that's really the gist of the new stuff and the overview of the program. So with that, are there any questions? Yes?
So if the proposal is due in February, when is the award?
The award would be, what was that?
Will be in the next grant fiscal year, which is
April 1st, and then it would go through March 31st of 2023. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all. If you guys have any questions, that come later, just feel free to email me. I believe my contact info is up to date on the website. All right. Yes, go ahead. There's not one listed, and it gives you the question was, is there a page limit for the letter of intent? Really, it gives you the things that you're going to need, such as the abstract, lay summary. I think I'm putting on there right now like a suggested length for those that can be flexible. Yeah. Oh, okay. Dr. State says 2 pages.
more is not necessarily bad.
That's right. All right. Any other questions? Yes, Dr. Banerjee.
How do you weigh out how much importance is given to the community feedback versus the scientific feedback? For example, if a problem is of national importance but not necessarily regional,
right?
There would be an obvious distance.
Yes, and so we're still working through that. But what we want to do, the question was how much of importance is placed from the community input versus, like scientific. What we'd like to do right now is have the stakeholder board rank them from like 1 to 5. That could be done. 1 being the most important for them, 5 being just not as important. That's then taken into consideration as well as what the CIEHS wants to look and see and knows could be funded and things like that. And there has to be kind of like a minimal importance from the community, I think, with both of those going on. So it's not a defined process yet. It's more of we just really want to see, is there some project that maybe CIEHS doesn't appreciate or know that that's so important to the community, and then we can give a closer look and see, okay, does this need to go out and have a full proposal come back? Yeah.
There's almost nothing that folks investigate amongst this grant that doesn't have community impact. It's a matter of getting that linkage across so that people can understand that. Western Kentucky is just a cesspool of pollution.
And it's important that we get, I'll take your question real quick. And I think it's also important that we as researchers really get into that mindset of relating our research to the lay public and being able to show, yes, my research is important because of this. This would definitely affect this population. So I think it's also just kind of good practice to get into right now.
I can speak louder so that Colleen does. I don't know if my phone is helping or not. Essentially, my question links that. Is there an opportunity for like a co-application in which you have the community engagement award looking at something similar with like a career development award, so that you have the combination of funds where you can bring in the community component that overlaps with that career development at the bench or something, so it allows for you guys experience that, or is that?
I've not heard that as an idea. I think that's a great point to bring up though and talk about. Yeah,
If you can make the case, and remember, we have the proposals reviewed external. Okay?
Yeah.
They're reviewed by investigators and other P30 centers.
That's separate, right? There's a whole different group of investigators that review the community engaged portion that don't see, right?
Yeah, so the letter of intent with the lay summary, that lay summary is going to go to the stakeholder advisory board, right? Which is in the CDC. But the science is evaluated extramurally. We're part of a pilot project review consortium. And so it goes out to P30 centers, Texas A&M, University of Michigan, Wayne State University, Cincinnati, and UK.
So I guess it would be important to be able to make the argument that separately they can exist on their own, but together they're stronger, like in terms of grant application.
Well, a community engaged project is going to have a U of L PI as well. I mean, that's actually where the money needs to go. So, I mean, that's a separate thing. And to take your scientific expertise and work with the community to do something of interest.
yeah.
Speaking of the review process, is it possible for the investigator to receive the reviewer's like feedback to different reviews?
We send the reviews.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I was gonna say, if that doesn't happen, it will. You definitely need to know what other people think of your science, yeah.
Any other questions on the pilot project?
One more.
Mhm.
So, I think in the interaction award, how do you just name it? Is it a new direction because they never be funded with that idea? Is it the finding that I align to you, or is it like it's not done in like this is came up with it, like I don't know?
I think, all right, so maybe I'll give you an example. So if your research is focused on a certain thing, and then you want to now look at maybe this environmental aspect, or you've never even gotten into the environmental health field before, but you can do that with a co-investigator, that would be considered like a new direction. Yeah, I don't think it's that you've never gotten funded, because theoretically, if you've gotten funded before, you're in the field.
Well, like just that the line that in new direction where there's no funding for that.
It's outside your norm. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really people like Dr. Hine, right? So it's established investigators. That applies to that. Right? So if somebody's gonna move into a new area, it'd be new angle on what they've been working, right? I don't think you have to worry about that.
All right, thanks, everyone.